Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast, Master Your Emotion and Find Your Truth. So today is number 12. I would like to give you some information around the number 12. So the number 12 is number one and two, like you see. So one is the beginning and the new creation, new opportunity to step in something new. And number two is the number of the balance of your emotions, the balance of everything, what you would like to balance in your life, definitely. Um, and one and two, that's giving a number three. That's the beautiful creation, beautiful love, saying about the love, saying lots of beautiful stuff around the communication. So definitely today we'll be talking around the mastering the emotions and finding the truth. And definitely there will be something more. We'll see what is going on. But today I've got in my podcast Beautiful Soul. I try my the best, what I just only found, what I researched. I would like to introduce you, like I said, the beautiful soul, light being, philosopher, warrior, founder of 33 Lights, Elite Super. But sorry, I'm just only helping myself. Super self-attainment for new world. And also, he's
Yes,
an alchemist and visionary leader of Welcome Frank. Would you like to say
thank you.
something about yourself?
Sure. So thank you so much. First of all, it's so nice to be here, and it's amazing to meet you. And um, yes, I have been on a very extensive journey the last 12 to 13 years, and my whole life transformed, and I have been privileged enough to discover who I am in a very deep way and to be tested by life, to be challenged, and to be blessed um, with extrasensory perception. And what I teach now, it's called super self attainment. So when you break down the science, the neuroscience, and the quantum mechanics and quantum physics, and then the explanations of that, spiritually speaking and mythologically speaking, there's a meeting point. And the meeting point to me is like what's actually happening inside the nervous system, and what are the effects when when the heart is open like this, when you're in connection to God or spirit. You can quantify these effects in the nervous system. And I feel like for the next world, there's a new language that needs to be birthed. And that's what this nervous system language is. And so I really look at the chemistry in the body and how when one dedicates himself to a spiritual path and they begin to practice through meditation, through breath, through certain movements, and certain almost storylines that they begin to play out and relate to and understand themselves from, such as our mythologies, uh, a metamorphosis happens in the body. An alchemical change happens in the body. And this is what we call gnosis. Gnosis is true knowledge, and it comes from an old uh, section of Christianity, which is called the Gnostics, or the more mystical side of Jesus's and Mary Magdalene's story. And these were mystery schools that held this knowledge that were actually showing that everything that the doctrine was talking about was an actual alchemical, metaphysical change in the body. And of course it would be. It only makes practical sense if we weren't like, in fear of religion. You would actually say, oh yeah, it actually makes sense. You're transforming, chemically speaking. And what that does is increase your cognition. It gives you vital energy in your heart, your magnetism, and many other things. And what has been a problem in the past is that there has been occultists or different practitioners of magic that got this knowledge, and they begin to use the knowledge the um, without the humbling or the sacred journey of the heart. So then this
Mm,
knowledge has been feared and looked at as like, oh, it's been misused. Our governments have misused this knowledge towards us. There has been many misuses of this knowledge. It is not the knowledge; it is the wisdom that is missing from using this properly, because it's a natural occurring effect when you go on a spiritual journey, a true spiritual journey, and all true knowledge is based in wisdom, which is always coming from the source of God and light, and our true physics of this universe that interacts with this physical plane. So, yeah, long story short, we can dive more into all of this, but this is my passion, to bring forward this information, to really not only bring forward the information, but environments and practices that individuals can actually have a real-time transformation and effect in their nervous system, understand how breath works and how their mind changes their emotions, etc., etc.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be smiling because that's amazing. It's happening now very, very often for me when I'm doing the podcasting with a beautiful source. Anyway, so that's a telepathy is connected very well, because what you just only answered, you answered my question, the next one and next one. So you answered 2 questions already. So I don't have to answer. I don't have to ask you about this stuff. By the way, I would like to bring you something. I don't know if you research. I researched about sorry, how can I pronounce gnosis? Because from the Wikipedia, like you just only mentioned, our government, why I'm saying our government, the government you mentioned, they say in completely different way. Like you said, that's occultism, that's something like a woo, and something is really, really not touchable. We couldn't speak, we couldn't talk. That's completely crazy stuff. We have to be, I don't know, burned on the I don't know, burn it. So that's why they said that's a religion. Is that a really religion? The spirituality is a really religion.
Is spirituality religion?
Yeah, that's my question. That's my question, because some of my audience, they are diving in the spiritual. They're going the spiritual path, but they're not really understanding what does that spirituality mean for them. Actually, what really is the spirituality?
Well, if you actually look at a formation of religion, it's an organization. So if you think about organizing a concept and making it a business, and then getting a bunch of employees and then an outreach program, it would have to become very organized, very clear how it's affecting the mind. It's a form of cultural infiltration. It's a business. It's a concept. That's what religion is. That doesn't mean that it's not based on truth or the stories of these saintly masters that came to the planet, but if you think about real spirituality, it's hard, because it's hard for those that are really in the way of the system, which is like work 9 to 5, religion, watch TV, money, financial system. This whole system has you think that this is the actual world, but it's not.
Okay.
It has been formated by very sophisticated bodies of intelligence that have literally shaped our consciousness and put us in this almost like Sims game. It's a fascinating thing. Because I've traveled Europe, and I travel the ancient world in the Middle East and the UK, and I study how we have come to be consciously, and so it's a very sophisticated system that have shaped our consciousness. But coming back to your question, the real spirituality is so much more expansive. It's so much more intimate. It is direct to these teachings. in the teachings, it's just as if you would read anything. If you don't have any basis of actual real experience, you're going to be gullible and naive. And then you're going to have to go through lessons of trial and error and fear and excitement. You're going to have to go through all these things to discover what it means to you. But there is a journey to understand, okay, this is doctrine. And if you take it point blank, meaning that if you take it just as it is, it means one thing, but if you translate it in just a different way, it means another thing. So you can't be attached to the intellectual understanding of the religion. You have to experience it in your heart. You have to feel that what faith really is. You have to have an intimate relationship with this for it to be a real journey. So I think that religion has tried to put spirituality in a box, and spirituality is so dynamic and it can't be put in a box.
No.
But it can give you something as a reference point.
Yeah, so what I'm just hearing from you, like a very quick and short version of the spirituality. So if I would like to say what I just only heard from you, what I understand, what did you say, is something like that. Having a faith and be guided through your heart and just listen to your heart. That's for me, that's very quick, easy way. So don't listen outside, just only listen to yourself. You will be much more guided through the source of the energy, universe, God, whatever the belief, you can name it. But that's your way of the spirituality. Am I really good understanding? What did you say about it?
Yes. Well, I feel that God has to speak to you and through you.
Yeah.
And if you listen to some kind of voice in your head, most likely you're going to be misled. But if you learn to listen to the tender, innocent, pure, sacred space in your heart, it's a direct link to your soul and where God can speak to you.
So how we can find the God? I know that some people just only believe in the universe. How we can find that voice? Because you said don't listen to the voice. I mean the voice which is misguiding you. But how you can find that true, pure love voice inside you?
Yeah. Well, if you look at the pictures of Jesus, if you look at his statues, where is his hands? Always
That's on the heart,
here.
in the middle.
It's on the
Yeah,
heart.
where's the soul living?
Yeah. So basically, there's a sacred space here. What we have to do is move our awareness into the sensual, the sensational space. This is not necessarily like physical sensation, but the awareness of the sense. Because as you pay attention to the sense, you will feel subtle nudges and feelings that come from deep within that can't lie to you. They tell you the truth. Your body will contract or they'll open up. And voices, you can have all kinds of voices, but it's becoming aware of the sense. It's actually feeling that a valid sense of communication is through your intuition. You have to make that valid. If you pay attention to your intuition and you talk to it and you ask it and you do experiments with it, it will strengthen. It's your only valid voice, really. Because what other voice are we going to listen to? Yeah. So it's like we have to get in touch with this sacred inner voice that I believe is within everybody. Everyone knows what they need to do. If you really have the moment of truth, they're like, I know. But they are creating their own suffering, but somewhere inside them, they know. So let's get in touch with that somewhere inside and make that voice louder. And what you pay attention to will grow. So if you're paying attention to all these things in your mind, it's going to grow and distract you. But if you're paying attention to that someplace inside you that knows, it's going to grow and guide you. Period.
Yeah. How about the feelings and emotions? How you can define? That's the same?
Well, emotions are chemistry. When you feel, or they are the emotions or the pain in the body. Um, they are there to almost bring you to the truth. They're not the same. They're not the same, but they are valid. So this is what's most important. I'll make this clear, is try not to have a story around the emotion. Immediately a story can come and you can be distracted and just like playing the emotional charge is going to play out this story and you play out this whole scene or scenario. That's not valid. That's not going to help. But
No.
if you stay in the emotion as the pure sensation in the body, and you begin to listen to the emotion, intuition of the true sense of awareness of things. So emotion by itself is a gateway to your intuition. If your mind takes a story around it, it will distract you. It's like a coping mechanism, because the mind, if you start to feel things, it's just then the mind starts to go. But this is where the awareness comes and you stop it and you just go and you feel it and you sit with the feeling, like holding space for someone else. You're not judging, you're just sitting there present. If you can sit there present with your own emotions, it will take you into it will take you into beautiful inner worlds, inner knowings and discoveries about yourself, and you will clear a lot of things. And then a valid story, a valid thought can come in and change your life. So it tells us is that we are disorganized. Our nervous system, the inner geometry, is disorganized. We overemphasize on our thinking and
Too much.
underemphasize on our feeling, when we're supposed to use our awareness to get the validity of how we feel and then bring thoughts to it and then focus it. Whereas what we do is separate this, compartmentalize this, and then we stay in these imaginary worlds. And that's why we have all these mental illnesses and challenges in our society, because we are disorganized as a human species of how our nervous system works. And what I said was these governments and these governing bodies, period, has used this knowledge against us. So meaning that we're in environments that are not conducive to our nervous system. And so we're constantly fighting a resistance and a contradiction that's keeping us disorganized and confused. Whereas we could be in environments that are supporting us and helping us thrive.
Yeah.
But we can also do it by having the knowledge as well.
Yeah, so that's emotions and feelings. So how I can see, I completely agree what you said, but how I can see emotions, that the emotions from my perspective, if someone is listening, maybe that resonates with them as well, or maybe resonates with you as well, is emotion, is the energy just only coming to your body. That could be by triggered points, anything somebody's going to say to you, or maybe you can hear, maybe you can see, and that would be an energy just only touching you, and then the feeling will come. But a lot of us avoiding that feelings. So they will maybe avoiding, actually, yes, avoiding, but some of us don't feel it at all. We're so numb. So how we can master that emotions, how we can just um, bring it much more to the surface and heal that emotions.
Yeah. Well, the
Sorry.
first step is that we have to, first of all, realize that it's this is where it's at. Can you hear me? Are we breaking up, or you can hear me
Yeah,
clearly?
sometimes you can break it up, but it's carry on. Let's go to that. Yeah, let's keep going. That's meant to be like that. I'm happy with that. You've got a clear voice.
Okay. 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 Uh, the key is to fully realize that this is where it's at, that our life will be better if we're connected to our bodies and our emotions in a very direct way, both man and woman. And it's simply by shifting your awareness to be placed in your body. So even in our waking day, you can always keep a part of your scanning the body, part of your awareness scanning the body. Breathe through the mouth. Breathe through the heart. When you breathe and you place your attention on the body, you're going to charge the body with electrical energy.
Yeah.
Specifically, if you place your attention on your heart is a magnet. It's going to charge and amplify the electrical energy in the body, and you'll begin to have more sensation. So one thing that I did in the beginning was I would set a timer for like 90 minutes, 2 hours. And every time the timer went off, I put my hand on my heart and I would breathe 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. And I would pull up a memory to feel gratitude. So this is creating a chemical effect in my body, and it's making me more connected to my heart and my body. So this is as simple as this. Bring your attention here. Breathe. Make it important. Make it valid for you. It'll make your life better.
Yeah, because everything is around the emotions, because we are the energy. We couldn't separate this from our body, from our avatar. So that's definitely. And anyway, I done yesterday your breathing technique around, like you said, putting your palm on your heart. And that was one of the video. That was an amazing one. My body was shaking and I felt a lot of vibration inside my cells. That was amazing stuff. That was amazing. I recommend everyone who is watching us, just go and find it. Or maybe you're going to share that video later on with me, so I can just only post it under the my podcast. That was amazing. I would like to ask you, would you mind just only bring the story with me? Prophecy Rock. Can you remember that story? You just only mentioned
Prophecy Rock.
Yeah. Can you remember that story? You said this, I don't know, 2016, 2017. Somebody shared with you that stuff. Can you remember? That was we cut from our true wisdom. That was the two rocks. The one was with the head and one was without the head. Can you remember a little bit?
Yeah.
And then that was a
I remember faintly. Prophecy Rock.
Surprise.
I'm part of the details are escaping me right now. But
can I interrupt you
tell me.
For 1
you
second?
tell you remember.
I remember. That wasn't my story. That you shared that story with the audience. But anyway, the reason why Jason you would like to, but if you can't remember, it's okay. But the reason why Jason you brought up this, because I would like to go straight away to finding your truth. Okay, our truth. So that was the truth about the power of love. So everything is around the creating our heart. So what Jason you found that in that story, we just, I've got this.
Tell me the story. Actually, I remember sharing that story. It wasn't 2016. I think it was later. But a friend told me that story that day about the Prophecy Rock, and I replayed it, and I told the story of it. And it's a fantastic story, but some of the details escape me, so I'm not going to attempt it right now. So but I'm going to revisit it.
Yeah, but it's not about the details. It's around the content. At the moral at the end, it's like we've been cut it through our program and society and all the stuff we've been just only growing up, that everything, and that
cut from our bodies.
That's right. Yeah, the same way, like a headless chicken or something like that. So we just only running, but we don't know where we're running. So that's why we need to go, like you said, go inside your heart.
I will share a real story. Basically, the whole colonization of this new world that we live in, that's only a few hundred years old. it has basically taken many of dominant people from the land, from all cultures, even fair-skinned people. We come from tribal, earth-based traditions that have mixed with the coming of the Christ energy and the new world. We have mixed it in beautiful ways, such as in like the Celtic tradition. But they have taken our people, taken us from the land, changed our language, and did it by force. And so we had to. Our ancestors were in complete fear and were forced into a new world. And so they were cut from their land, which is connected to their body and their feelings and their ancestry. They're taken from their land. Their language changed, which changes their mind. And then their religion and their gods have been shamed as dark demon, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And we had to force into a certain religion. So can you imagine that? Of course, most of us have forgotten our ancestry. Most of us forgotten where we come from, and we don't have any context, right? And why? And where's the next thing? The next thing, of course. Well, let's be digital. We're not even human anymore. We're going to create a digital avatar. And they forget that we could actually be real, living, breathing, pulsating avatars, right? But let's create a digital thing. It's the next, so it is just this ignorance and stupidity, really, because it could be so beautiful here, and it's going to be beautiful. And there are people like us that will be gifted our ancestral heritage.
Yeah. Yes, definitely, definitely. But also, I would like to say we've been given, our body is a beautiful gift. We can do everything. We don't have to rely on outside, on the anyone. So we can do slowly, slowly, step by step, when we will be unravel and activate our own DNA. Anyway, the DNA also is the best stuff. So we're not using a lot of our DNA.
Right.
Anyway,
We have so much potential.
Yeah, it's so much. But let's come back to finding the own truth. So how about because some of the questions, some of them on the Instagram reels, or I don't know, lives, you've been talking a little bit about the power of love or something like that. Would you mind just only say a
Yeah.
little bit?
Oh, wow. Well, love is amazing. Love is where it's at. Literally, the chemistry of love in your heart is a regenerative chemical. It changes your body, changes your mind. It changes the way you see the world and the way the world sees you. When you're in love, you glow. Time works for you, life works for you, and you enter a different perception of reality when you're in love. But even love has been controlled, because now most of us only actually open up to this kind of love in a romantic setting, and then wind up getting hurt because it's conditioned. It's a conditional thing, and we're working through trauma. But I really feel like the power of love is key, and like not just as a concept, but an actual feeling in the heart. It is through the heart. Love is through the heart, period. And when you can get to the place of a universal love, a feeling of love for love's sake, right? I'm loving for loving's sake. I'm in relate. That's why some of the mystical sides of Islam is beautiful, like the beloved, the Sufis. It's all about love, this relationship with love, because alchemically speaking, that chemistry, I believe it's what converts us to light and to the deeper, more subtle realms of reality, is through the gateway of love. Love is like, yeah, it's like the key to open a door into a whole nother universe inside your body.
Shall we just only say when you feel when you allow yourself to feel the love, then is a huge possibility you can go and find your own truth about yourself,
Yeah,
about the others, about the other dimension, anyway, about the whole universe and galactic, everywhere. Is the love the
that's
key?
right. Love is the key. Love
So,
is the key. Love is the true key.
so how we can cultivate, how we can, I don't know, how we can go and find that love. Is any technique we can go and do anything around
Yes,
it?
yes. I believe that there is a seed of love that's in the core of your very heart. And that there might be layers of hurt and pain and trauma over it, but it's always there. So if you go look for it, it will know that you're looking for it, and it'll start to make itself available, and you'll meet it again, and it'll just it just it just kind of
Yeah, you
opens.
often,
It's like a seed. Yeah,
yeah, but sometimes the
it's
people
like
are
a
saying,
seed.
I don't love myself, I don't love myself, I don't love myself. So what's happened with them? They didn't love themselves at all, or how you can tell them to navigate their life, their own life, to finding their own truth.
Well, they don't love themselves because they don't love, and so they wind up in a cycle of self destruction. Um, Love comes from inside, and it shines outward on everything, or an animal, or and you can like see the beauty of that creature. So when you're in love, you look at yourself from the eyes of love. You're not saying, oh, I have short hair, long hair, or I don't love this, and you wind up hurting this inner innocence that has nothing to do with this. Because if you're in love, you will actually see your body differently.
Yeah, in the bright colors instead of the, yeah, that's true.
Those that have love have light. And if you can see amazing, like, as a man, when I was younger and I was training, I was very, very shallow when it came to females. I looked at their bodies and I looked at this, and I would judge the quality of the woman by the way she looked, which is a typical thing in our society. Now, I look at her soul. I look at the light that's coming through her eyes. It doesn't matter actually how she looks. Of course, the external is a piece, but really from my heart, I really see the beauty of the goddess, I call
Yeah,
her, in all women. And it's the love and the light that she has that I find beautiful. And when you go along on this path, you realize that's way more valid. That's way more precious than anything externally. It is the light in your heart. And it makes everything beautiful. It's actually a regenerative property. People just realize that actually, if you were in love and you cared about beauty and the way you looked, you would actually want your heart to be open and in love, and not bitter and angry and judgmental, because that actually it makes uh, your body deteriorate. Your heart in love is a regenerative chemical.
mm,
So it is important. Breathe into your heart love, kindness, compassion, care. Those people that you love genuinely, where it touches you. Like everybody has a soft spot. You want to touch your own soft spot, and you get emotional, and then you're gonna hear all the stories. Oh, don't be emotional. Don't want to cry right now. Da, 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 da.
yeah,
Just let it all go. Be very intimate with yourself and sit in it. And if there's pain alongside the love, and the love, it comes in a feeling of warmth. If there's pain there, sit with the pain and 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 let it be there, and then begin to bring the warmth of the love and surround the pain with it, and the love and the pain will start to change. The sensation of the pain is going to change, and then when you sit there long enough, it's like, oh wow, it's acknowledging me, and it starts to release, and you have a chemical sensational effect of like a change in your heart.
I think we lost Frank. Let's go. We stop this recording for a minute and we can come back soon.